All right, boys and girls. So today we're going to check out another strategy to use to work with percents. And this strategy we're not going to really come back to that many times. This is it's called a double number line. But I wanted to show you just in case, like if this really made sense to you or it really worked out for you well. This could be one that you use to try to solve ratio problems. But again, um, it's not one, again, we're going to come back to many, many times. But let's try it out today. It's called double number lines. Here we go. So we can use a double number line to solve a percent problem, and we can actually also use it to solve any ratio problem. But let's see what this looks like here. For number one, it says 10 is 25% of what number? Now, because we're going to use this with percents, I'm going to every single time I'm going to set this up pretty much the same way. I'm going to put a label down here on the bottom number line that I'm going to label it percent. Okay? So whenever I'm thinking about percents, it's going to be the bottom line. The top line is for the other number we're working with. And sometimes that number is going to be labeled, sometimes it's not. For example, right here, 10 doesn't have a label. It's not like it's, 10 chickens or 10 hats or anything like that. It's just 10. So I'm just going to put the number sign here, also known as a hashtag. So whenever I'm working with percents, I think of this sometimes as like when you check your battery on your cell phone. I'm not sure what that's called. Like your cell phone battery. If it's full, all the way up here, it's at 100%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, at one end of the double number line. And on the bottom, I'm going to make that 100%, because percent's always on the bottom. Down here, far left, the battery's all the way down here. It's at 0%. It's empty. So, this would be around 50%. This would be around 25%, 75%. So when you move down the number line, you're going to a different percent. Now, this problem says we're at 25%. 10 is 25%. So I'm going to try to figure out where 25% is. That's about halfway. 25% would be about half of that, so it'd be about right there. So at 25%, I'm going to draw a line. Okay? And I'm going to write 25%, because remember, percent is always on the bottom. Now that 10 is 25%. So 10 and 25% are kind of like the same thing. 10 is 25% of what number? Now, whenever I see that word of, if there is a number after the of, that's my whole. But since there is no number after the of, it's asking of what number? We're looking for the whole. We don't know the whole. And the whole is going to be 100% of that number. So once we find this number, we'll be able to find the answer. So the first thing I think is, can I get from 25% to 100% one step? You bet. You bet. So we can do that by multiplying by 4. And then we do the same thing to the top. As you can see, it's kind of like a ratio. Times 4. Actually, it is a ratio. 10 times 4 is 40. So that means 10 is 25% of 40. That's how we use a double number line to find a missing number with percents. So we're going to do a couple more like this, and we're going to use the same type of strategy here. All right, let's try this next one here. Country music makes up 75% of Landon's music library. If he has downloaded 90 country music songs, how many songs does Landon have in his music library? So I apologize, the question's kind of like weirdly printed out here, so I apologize. So I'm going to set this up. Again, I'm going to put percent on the bottom, and I'm going to make a line at the very end. That's going to be 100% of his music. Right down here at the left side of the bar is going to be 0%. Now on the top, I'm actually going to label that songs. That's where the songs are going to go. So it's kind of like a ratio between songs and percent. Country music makes up 75% of Landon's music library. So I'm gonna mark down 75% on my double number line. So here's 50%, and 75% would be like halfway toward 100 from 50. So it'd be about right there. So there's 75%. Now that 75% is the country music, and he has 90 country songs. So that means that 90, this is country, 90 songs is 75%. We want to find out what would 100% be. Now here's the thing. This is the number we're looking for. We're trying to find the whole. The whole would be all the songs in his music library, so that's what we're looking for. We can't get from 75 to 100 in one step. So I got to think, well, what can I divide 75 by? Or what number can I get to from 75 that will help me get to 100? Now, whenever I see 75, I usually think quarters. So if I can get to 25, which I can, by dividing by 3, I can then get to 100. So I'm just going to kind of do my arrow like that. We're going to divide by 3 on the top. We're going to divide by 3 on the bottom. Or actually, that was the bottom. That was the top. This is the bottom. This is the top. 90 divided by 3 is 30. So 30 is 25%. And now we can get from 25% to 100% by multiplying by 4. So we had to scale down by dividing, and now we're scaling up by multiplying. 30 times 4 is 120 songs. Now, another way to think about that is if 75% is 90, 25% is 30. Well, 75%, and then you add that to 25 plus 75% is 100. 30 plus 90 is 120. So that's another way of seeing how that would work out. So we had to scale down, then scale back up because we couldn't get right from 75 to 100. Now, if you want to try the next one on your own, you can, absolutely. If not, you can try with me. Here we go. 60 is 20% of what number? So, again, we don't have any labels here because it's not like a story problem. So, again, I'm going to put percent on the bottom, number on the top, kind of like labeling a ratio. I'm gonna start off with 100% all the way at the end here. 100%. This is going to be 0%. And what this says is 60 is 20% of what number? Since the of, we don't know the number after the of, we don't know the whole. This is the part. 60 is 20%. So to find 20%, be a little bit less than 25%. All right, so let's set this up here. 20% would be about right there. That's about 20%. Maybe a little bit less. Well, actually, it is about 20%. 60 is 20%. So those are the same thing. 60 is 20%. We want to get from 20% to 100. We can do that in one step. So we're just going to multiply here by 5. And then 60, we're going to multiply by 5 as well, times 5. And you get, 6 times 5 is 30. 60 times 5 is 300. So it'd be 300. Again, there's no label for that, but that's what it would be. So, again, you can see that once you set the problem up, the first thing you're thinking is can I get right from one number to the other? And if you can, it's a one step. If you can't, then you might have to, as we did in this one, divide and then multiply, or multiply then divide. So again, number 4, if you want to try number 4 on your own, go for it. Not, let's try it out. It says Peyton spent 60% of her money to buy a new television. Ooh. If their televisions cost $300, how much money did she have? Okay. So let me think about this for a second. 60% of her money bought the television. That means she only spent part of her money. So that means we're looking again for the whole, what would be 100% of her money. So to label this, I'd probably put percent on the bottom, of course. And we're talking money, so I'll just put like a dollar sign on top. Okay. Going to make a line at one end for 100%. And at the other end is going to be 0%. So we're looking at 60%. So this is about halfway. That's about 50. 60 would be just a little bit further, maybe like right there. So 60%. And since that 300 was the 60% of her money, that 300 is going to go right here. Okay, so here's the issue. We can't get easily from 60 to 100 here. This is the number we're looking for. We're looking for the whole, how much money she had to begin with. Let's see. What can we divide 60 by to get to a number that we can then get to 100 with? So there's actually, I'm thinking of like, there's 2, I got 3, 4. All right. There's 4 different possibilities. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 6 because then I'll get to 10, and I know I can get from 10 to 100. Another way to do it is to divide by 60, actually, and get to 1% and then multiply by 100. That's another way to do it. Another way is would be to divide by 12. You could also divide by 12, the top and bottom, and get to 5%. But I think or actually you also divide by 3. Because if you divide by 3, you'll get to 20% and then 100. But I'm going to divide by 6 because I like to work with tens. Okay, so I'm going to divide by 6 on the top and bottom. I said I'm trying to get to 10. Whoops, I wrote 10 down. Divide by 6, get to 10%. Divide by 6. I'm only doing my arrows like this because when I go back to 100, I just don't want the arrows to like overlap. 30 divided by 6 is 5. 300 divided by 6 would be $50. Now I want to get from 10% to 100%. You can multiply by 10. And then 50 times 10 would be 500. So that's one type of $500. That'd be one type of problem that you can solve using a double number line. I'm actually going to show you one more. So these were all similar in that you were finding the whole. I'm going to show you what you could do if you're trying to find the part. Okay, so if you could, let's actually go to the very, very back of the packet. There's a little space at the very bottom of the packet, page 28. All right, I'm going to write out a problem here. It says, what number is 70% of, let's say 250. So I want to find what number is 70% of 250. This is the whole, because I can tell because it's after the word of this number. This is the whole. This is the percent, obviously. We're trying to find the part. So to make a double number line, what you do is draw a straight line up and down, a little one. You draw 2 lines that come off of it like so. Okay, just like so. I'm going to label that bottom number is going to be the percent. This top number is going to be the number. Okay. Of course, that's going to be 0%. 0%. And then this is going to be 100%. Now, this problem is a little different because we know this number. The whole is 250. That's all of it. That's 100%. We're trying to find out what number is 70%. So 70% would be like right there. We want to find this number. Okay. Now, what we have to do is we can't really change the 70. We're actually gonna use this kind of this ratio right here, and we're gonna think: is there any number I can get to from 100 that will then help me get to 70? And I can think of two. If we got to 10%, that will help us get to 70, or even if we got to 5%, that will help us get to 70, or even 1%. But I'm going to go with 10 because I like working with tens. So what you do is this. We're going to divide the top and bottom by 10, and that will get us to 10%. 100 divided by 10 is 10. 250 divided by 10 is 25. So 25 is 10%. Now we want to get to 70%, so we're going to multiply by 7. So I'm going to get to this number, multiply by 7. That's like 7 quarters. 4 quarters is $1. 3 more quarters is 75 cents. So that would be 175. So again, that was just another type of problem that you can use to use the double number line. It's kind of like a percent proportion. It's kind of like a ratio, but you're just setting it up differently and kind of moving along the number line there. All right. So I hope that you like double number line. If you like it, it's maybe something that we can use in the future. If not, there are a couple of other strategies we'll use instead. All right. Have a great day, and I'll see you your next day. All right. Bye-bye.